All right, welcome back, True Seeker. Already December 1st, 2022, the last month of the year. Time flies. And again, I put it out there. If we can get the Patreon up to 6,000 plus supporters by the conclusion of December, which is what it was at the beginning of the year, I will go out to Los Angeles for January 26th, the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death. I'll probably get there on the 24th if I do it, because the Lakers and Clippers play on January 24th, and then the Clippers have a home game on the anniversary of Kobe's death. But we'll go out there. We'll be at the Staples Center. We'll be where people are in the area, and we'll educate about the knowledge and what really happened to Kobe Bryant. But I'm only going to do that if the support gets back up to 6,000. And the reason I'm setting the mark there is because that's what it was at the beginning of the year, before I traveled all over the nation, all throughout the year, spreading the knowledge, bringing people together. And for that, the support went way down, which was very frustrating to me. The support didn't go way down last year at any point. It only went way down this year after I got out and drove all over the nation and pounded pavement over all sorts of cities. So I want to see the support go back up if I'm going to go back out to another major city and put in my time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears to try and wake people up to the evil that's taking place in this world. But realize, when you support my Patreon, you win in all sorts of ways. Not only are you helping me in this movement, you're helping yourself. And again, a lot of you guys, you do need help, because just from sharing the information, I'm learning more and more about the community. And it seems that sadly, a lot of people in the community, if I'm not doing a spoken video, the knowledge is not helpful to them, because seemingly they're illiterate. They cannot read simple information. And I'm finding out a lot of people in the community seemingly have, I'd say, probably below a second grade reading level. And I guess it's not a surprise. This is America. They have raised us to be very dumb. But again, I'm waking up to emails and text messages about, thanks, Zach, I won a ton again yesterday. NBA's made me never broke again. And then I'm also waking up to emails and messages about, Zach, I can't win with your new notes because I can't figure out what team to pick. Again, you guys, in the NFL, I write exactly what games I like, which games I think are a close call. And as long as you can just like read, oh, Zach likes that game. Okay, that's then you're. But when I put out the information, seemingly people can't win with this. And we're just going to go through yesterday's notes. You know, there's a lot of people yesterday who did ×5 their money. You know, they put in a $50 parlay. They won $250 by going with the strongest reads on the board in games like the Lakers. And here, we'll go through yesterday's notes. Again, for those of you guys who need to work on the reading comprehension, the reason I'm doing this stream this morning is so hopefully you can follow along and listen and do this without me. Because, again, you should be able to do this. I feel like if I went into a second grade classroom and I showed them how this is constructed, they'd be able to figure out what the smartest decisions are. And I'm pretty sure everyone who's watching this video is probably older than a second grader. So, you know, I'm going to start right here with this guy right here, Mark Style 600. Here's his, I mean, seemingly he can write. So he writes this morning, and he could be, again, he writes, Zach, you do great work, brother, but I show my friends the work, and both my friends and I feel like you don't choose a side anymore. Don't know how that could be possible, because every week in the NFL, I write out what games I like and what games are close calls. So then he writes, we know the games be dual scripted, but as the leader of this community, you need to stand on one answer. Pick the team that should most likely win in your eyes, instead of showing both sides of the madness and not telling the subscribers which team to bet on. I'm not a troll or hater. I just want to see people making money while exposing evil doing. So we're going to go through yesterday's games, and you'll see some games are dual-sided and some games are a one-way street. And some games look very heavy on one side. And that's why people who can read yesterday made good money, and people like Mark, who apparently, and his friends who can't read, well, but he can write, which is weird. So, I mean, look at this game right here. You have the ATS, right? Notice that I underlined the Lakers are 5-6 at home, meaning they can get to 6-6. Lakers 66, like LeBron James, like the big number with the team. But notice everything in these notes. Lakers are 125 and 113 versus the Blazers. This is yesterday's game on November 30th, 1-1-3-0. So they're already on 113 losses. They're 80-41 at home versus the Blazers. These are regular season stats. I don't mix in the postseason and the regular season. I will with coaches' records, but not team head-to-head in the regular season. But I point out the Lakers can stay on 113 losses on 1-1-3-0. They can improve to 81-41. Kobe Bryant 81. Kobe Bryant 41. Remember, the RIP Kobe game was versus the Blazers, which is true. Blazers can fall to 7-6 away on NBA TV, which equals 76. Crypto.com Arena equals 76. Blazers can fall to 11-11 on 11-date numerology on the day leaving 31 days left in the year, the 11th prime. Lakers equals 66, the 11th triangular number. Lakers can improve to 6-6 at home. Lakers equals 66. LeBron 66. They host the Celtics next. Boston Celtics 66. If you guys want to know why some things are bolded and some things aren't, it's because, like I teach, some ciphers are more powerful and consistent than others. Those are the ones I put the bold on. Again, 66, the 11th triangular number, going with the Super 11 date. The Blazers coach, who's Chauncey Billups, can pick up his 66th loss 66 days after his birthday. Do you see any notes here for the Blazers to win? There are no notes here for the Blazers to win. Do you know what the Lakers did last night? Not only did they destroy the Blazers, they had 66 points at halftime. And when you read my notes day in and day out, you'll see how the same numbers that I point out in the game are the same numbers that end up in the score. So Lakers get to 6-6 at home. They cover the spread. They won by more than 5.5. I believe they won by 19. And they got to 6-6 at home. So that's where the value was with the Lakers. You needed that information for them to cover the spread. And the reason that it looks strong there is because all this 66 and 11 lined up on the Super 11 date. So you got this guy leaving this comment in the morning about, they can't read the notes. They don't know which side I'm on this game. And to me, this stuff is just like, I'm just like, man, how can these people not know like which game to feel more confident about? And for the guy like this who says, he'd rather me also write out here, I feel real strong about the Lakers. I guess he apparently needed that sentence. Again, there's a lot of veterans in the community who've called into shows back when I used to do call-in shows every day, and they've said, Zach, just put out the information for these games and don't even write which team you like, because we know how to read the notes. And what I've noticed, and again, this is for people who are veterans, they know this is true. People have called in and said, Zach, when you start writing out which games you specifically really like, it seems that those games are getting flipped a lot. And you know why that is, you guys? Because there's thousands of people looking at these notes each day. And guess what? If there becomes a pattern in Vegas, because guess what? There's computers and AI. If everybody plugged in the same parlay for the same 5 teams, you only got to flip one game out of those 5 to kill 1,000 people's parlay. So I'd rather put out the information and let people use their own mind. And again, that's why the winners are winning in the morning, and I'm hearing the thank yous from them. And the people like Mark and his friends who apparently don't have, the highest IQs. And again, for the people get mad about, they're like, Zach, that's not the way to return customers. You guys, I just keep it real all the time. So I wrote back to Mark. So when I write out which NFL games I like, that isn't picking a side. And when I leave notes for all the games in the NBA and the one-way streets win day after day, that isn't picking a side. You and your friends need to go back to kindergarten. And FYI, people are cashing in big week after week who can read above a first grade level. The only problem is with you and your friends, which is a fact. Now, it might cause them to unsubscribe from the Patreon, but again, at the end of the day, you guys, I do want more people to be here. But at the same time, I don't want to read messages from morons. I don't like starting my day on low vibration reading the thoughts of morons. You guys should know that. I vent that in every stream I do. And if you guys are only here on Gematria Effect Sports, I don't upload that many videos to Gematria Effect Sports. GematriaEffectNews is where I do the work, where I rant about how sick I am of how dumb humanity is. So anyway, if you flip through the notes yesterday, there's a lot of games that, there's narratives on both sides. There's narratives on both sides. But there was one other game that was a one-way street yesterday, the Grizzlies and Timberwolves game. And notice the Timberwolves also yesterday beat up the Grizzlies, and they were underdogs with value. So the note said T-Wolves are 51-51 versus Grizzlies, 30-21 at home. There's 31 days left in the year. T-Wolves can get 31st home win. 31's the 11th prime, last day of the 11th month, 11-date numerology. T-Wolves can become 11-11. T-Wolves can become 6-6 at home. It's very similar to the Lakers game, isn't it? And remember where the Lakers are from. The Lakers are from Minneapolis. That's why they're called the Lakers. If you guys have never been to Minnesota before, as you drive along the state, you'll see there's just little lakes everywhere. They call it the land of 10,000 lakes. There's probably 1 million lakes in the state. But that's why the Lakers are called the Lakers. There's no lakes really in Los Angeles. They're from Minneapolis. And again, like we're always teaching, the entire league is scripted together. So there were 2 games yesterday that were one-way streets. And as you'll pay attention in the notes, the one-way streets, they cash, they cash, they cash. I'll tell you what the real problem is with Mark and his friends. They don't take the time to read through the notes. You can read through the notes in 5 to 10 minutes. I put in hours each day to put this information out there. These guys don't have the ability or the willingness, or, they just need their shoes tied for them in the morning. They just want to read through and say, Zach says bet on this game. Zach says bet on this game. Zach says bet on this game. Again, this is a problem having a low intellect, a low ambition. The problem's not with me. I'm charging $5 a month. I'm putting in probably 100 hours of research per month, documentation, time, everything. Research, writing it up. It's at least 100 hours a month. It's probably more than that, because I'd say every NFL week is probably 15 hours of research. There's 60 hours right there. Some NBA days, like today, there's only one game. It's not going to take me that long. And a lot of times on Thursday, I'm not even crazy about the game in the NBA. But I'd say it probably averages out to about 2 hours a day in the NBA. So it's probably in the neighborhood of 120 hours of research a month. And I charge you guys $5 a month for that. And again, smart people are winning a lot of money. So I get annoyed reading comments from losers. And again, I'm trying to build up winners. And again, I want you guys to evaluate. Those of you who aren't winning, the problem is with you. This Sunday, it was Lock City for the Miami Heat, who are a one-way street, is a big underdog with big value. And I even wrote on there, this game has a lot of value. It was another game, that's what's the nicest, was when you find the one-way streets with the underdogs, just like the T-Wolves were an underdog. So here, yesterday, just like how we do it every day, I identify the date. We look in the numbers in the date, right? Yesterday's date numerology breaks down to 83, 47, and 11, which are all numbers in numerology that become 11. 8 plus 3 is 11. 4 plus 7 is 11. 11's obviously 11. Lots of 11 on the board today. There's 31 days left in the year. 31's the 11th prime. It's the last day of the 11th month. So we knew it was going to be an 11-heavy day. And, 76ers Cavs game, it wasn't a one-way street. The 76ers pattern with 55, they did fall to 5-5 away. At the beginning of the year, it was hitting. It missed in a couple of games, so I said the number has been hit and miss with the 76ers, just so people know that they can't write it for sure, but that was the thing that stood out the most. And the 76ers did lose and fall to 5-5, but it's not a perfectly consistent pattern. Again, I didn't give this out for free the other day, but just pay attention. This pattern's perfect this year. Again, if you guys are new here, there are 4 base ciphers: alphabetic order with numerology, reverse alphabetic order with numerology. In 5 games so far this year with the Timberwolves, a pattern's come up that's perfect. It's 5-0, and it's been strong every year that we've been teaching this. Notice how in the dark blue cipher, which is considered the most pure cipher, the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, Timberwolves is 55. So is Minneapolis, where they play. And so is Target Center, the name of their stadium. They're all 55. And every opportunity where 5-5 has come up, whether it's with the Timberwolves or an opponent in a T-Wolves game this year, it's hit. That's what you live for with this knowledge. You pay attention. You see what patterns are smashing. And the thing is, it's not the exact same every year. There was a year in Major League Baseball where Cincinnati in 66, it was hitting in every single game. And we used that pattern to win probably 30-some games in that Cincinnati baseball season. But it's not like that every year. Some years it's not playing. Some years it's smashing. So that's why you got to do the work and put in the due diligence and pay attention. There's some patterns that smash year after year. There's some numbers that it seems like the scripters, they're using that number more in that season. And think about why they would do this. It's just like from any coding standpoint. They know that people can break the code, crack the code. Again, if every single year Cincinnati in 66 was perfect, the word would probably get out in an even bigger way, and then people would be winning every time there's a Reds game with 66 on the board. Okay. So anyhow, a lot of the games, a lot of notes here that show it could go either way. It could go either way. made a big point about Bill Russell in this game because Bill Russell, who won 11 championships, died on the 31st of July, the last day of the Ignatian year. But like you see, like Wizards-Nets game. Look at I'll get emails like this, you guys. Somebody will write, and I won't even respond because I just get annoyed. I'm just like, what do you think I'm going to respond back? Somebody will write me an email and they'll be like, Zach, I'm really thinking about betting the Nets-Wizards game. I saw you had a lot for the Nets and one thing for the Wizards. Well, which one? It's the Nets you like, right? And I'm just like, what do you think I'm going to write back? Like, if I have to bet on these two teams, am I going to take the Wizards riddle here? I mean, let's look at it. The Wizards can fall to 3-7 away. Wizards equals 37 in the most period. Wizards can fall to 11-11. And again, we talked about how it's a Super 11 date. You already read that at the top of the notes, but I'm going to emphasize it there in every post. And the reason I do that is because I know I have people like this in the community, Mark Styles 600 and his friends, who are going to need their shoes tied for them. So this is why I do what I do, because I know that there's the Mark Styles of the world out there who need all the help in the world they can get. And Nets can improve to 7-4 at home. Brooklyn, New York, 74. Don't forget Etsy out of Brooklyn, New York, banned my book on the 74th day of the year. So I know how well that number plays in Brooklyn. And the Wizards coach can pick up his 58th loss. Nets equals 58. Now, I could just leave off the or part where I can say, or Nets can stay on 11 wins. They could also stay on 11 losses. But I just write it there just so people can see the two sides of the argument. There's no reason to send me an email and say, Zach, which side would you be more on? I mean, it's obvious. It's obvious. Again, it's just like when I get an email like that, it just reminds me of being a kid in the classroom again. And it's like, do you remember being a kid in the classroom and there's always that one kid who's like retarded, who's constantly raising his hand and asking the dumbest questions. And now you like can't go to recess because little Johnny, who can't answer the obvious, had to keep raising his hand and asking the dumbest question. And sorry, guys, this is who I am because I am the person who grew up in the classroom with the other kids that I didn't belong in there with. Again, I don't mean to be arrogant, but this is the reality of my life. Having to be in a room with morons my whole life that I didn't belong to be in there with, you know? So I have like a very short tolerance for idiocy, you know? I do what I do to try to build people up, but that doesn't mean that I want to have my whole day spent responding to morons who can't answer the obvious. Okay. You know, and the thing that is tricky and why you should hedge your bets and be smart, there are a lot of people yesterday whose parlay got blown up by this Bucks-Knicks game because New York is the 11th state and the Knicks have been winning. The Knicks are probably our most winningest team. The Knicks have been upsetting for us left and right this year. We've been doing really great with the Knicks. The Knicks did seemingly have a good riddle to beat the Bucks yesterday. They could have become 11-11. And the Bucks could have fallen to 3-4 away, and Bucks equals 34, like Giannis wears 34. There was a narrative right here. This is the or side of it. And I did point out if the Knicks lose this game, it could set them up to pick up their 13th loss versus Dallas. So, I mean, there were some risks there with the Knicks. But, you know, that's the thing. A lot of people will get greedy, too. Johnny yesterday did nearly times 5 his money. His $50 parlay paid $230, and he only put 2 teams in his parlay. He took a 2-team parlay, and he said he nearly put the Knicks in it to make a lot more, but he felt really good about the 2 games, and he saw the risk with the Knicks, and he left it out. And Johnny's got good judgment. And again, I showed you guys Johnny's parlay the other week. Johnny turned $1,000 into $10,000. And a lot of you guys, when I showed that, a lot of you said, Johnny's parlay is not going to cash. There's no way the Titans are going to beat the Packers on Thursday Night Football. And again, those of you guys who leave those comments, like, where are your opinions coming from that there was no way the Titans were going to beat the Packers on Thursday Night Football? You know why Johnny felt confident about that? Because the only 35 on the board for 35 Thursday was with Ryan Tannehill picking up his 35th road win, which is exactly what he did, as I teach you guys about. Just pay attention to the numbers. Everything is number driven. So again, there's a reason Johnny's cashing tickets week after week. And there's a reason some of you guys are like, oh man, I only got 4 out of 5 teams. You only put 1 parlay out there. You didn't hedge your bets and you put too many games on the ticket. It's okay if you lost on the Knicks yesterday. They weren't a bad bet. I'm not saying they were a bad bet, but you could have had some other tickets out there and you could have done well without trying to be greedy, you know? for my friend Vanessa out there, I think every night she's trying to put together a $2 ticket that pays over $10,000. I mean, it is fun to do that, and eventually she probably will hit one. But the thing is, rather than try to make $10,000 off $2 every night, if you just bet $2 and try to make $50 each night, you're going to hit a lot more of those. And, maybe by the course of the year, you've built up your bankroll a lot more. And now if you're really trying to win $20,000, you can be like Johnny, who came into the community and started with $5 bets and moved up to 10 and then 20 and 50. Now, he'll routinely do a $100 bet. And sometimes he'll even put down 1,000 if he sees great odds, great value, and he really likes something there, like 35 Thursday. Meanwhile, the average football lemming's going, no way are the Titans winning in Green Bay on prime time. Johnny's like, okay, that's how I used to think before I found the work 5 years ago. Now I know about 35 Thursday, and I'm not saying things like that anymore. And look at me, I'm patting my pockets. So, yeah, again, if you don't take the time to read the notes, maybe you're not going to see the winning information. But had you taken the time to read the notes, you would have realized there were 2 one-way streets yesterday. Timberwolves as dogs and Lakers to cover. And you might have stuck in a game like the Nets because, that was the strongest riddle that wasn't arguably a one-way street. And the only reason that game wasn't a one-way street is because you could make the argument that the Nets could stay on 11 wins or 11 losses. But obviously, looking at the notes, it looked like they would definitely stay on 11 losses. So, and again, the community would have had a lot better day yesterday had the Knicks upset. But realize, upsets only come through so much, and that's why it's better not to be greedy and to make those smaller parlays. The Hawks is another. The Hawks had a narrative to win, but they're another team that could have fallen to 11-11 on the Super Date. And again, though, the 2 one-way streets: Timberwolves, dogs with great value. Boom. The Pelicans. That was one of the teams Johnny took yesterday. The Pelicans had a lot lining up. New Orleans, Louisiana, 83. On the 83 date numerology, get to 8-3 at home. Raptors stay on 11 wins. So the Pelicans had nice value because they were dogs at home. Minnesota had great value. And the thing about LA is, that's the real-time betting situation. LA started in a big hole yesterday. That real-time betting is where you could get more value on the Lakers game. When they were in the big hole early, you can stick in your bet. Again, I don't know how you could go through all the notes yesterday and not walk away with the conclusion that the strongest narrative on the board was the Lakers to get to 6-6 at home, and that 66 flowing right with their against the spread pattern if they covered. They had to win by 6 points to cover. In the 66 pattern, they won by 19. So, yeah, and again, for this guy who gets frustrated, because there are some days, you guys, there's some days where every game looks pretty tight. And you know what? That's a good day to just keep your money in your pocket, maybe sit back and be like, maybe just have a hunch about a game and be like, you know what? I think if I was going to play a game today, I'd play that game. And maybe you can bet on it, but bet small, or just sit back and watch and see if your hunch is right. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to jot that note down. I'm going to put that in my memory. That was right. I did have the right instinct about that. And then you know what? The next time you see it play again, you're like, okay, now a pattern's developing. And that's what we look for. We look for the patterns in every season. Even though I know what to look for, I got to see what numbers are playing the most in this season. So. But yeah, again, please don't be the person that's turning my hair gray in the morning. I just get so tired of reading this crap. It shows me that you're not even taking the time to look through the information that I'm taking hours to put out, And I'm getting it out early in the day so people can think about it. I was up at what? I was up at like 6:30 in the morning yesterday working on this. I had to take a quick break because I had to run Sweet Lady to work yesterday. And as soon as I got back, I was almost done. I probably had it posted by like 10:30 in the morning West Coast time. That's 1:30 Eastern. I'm on the West Coast. Hours before the game. That's 6 hours before the first game's played. So you have plenty of time to go over it, plenty of time to look at it. You can do your research. See, and then the other thing I'll tell you guys is a lot of you guys will start reading and you'll see like injury reports and you'll be like, oh man, I don't know if I want to bet on that. You guys, stop looking at that information. That information is just for gamblers. It doesn't matter who's out, who's injured. It's just like the 76ers had a one-way street last week to win the game and they were a 9-point underdog. And they did win the game. And why were they even a 9-point underdog versus the Nets at home? Because they had a whole bunch of injuries. So the gamblers like, oh, I think I'm going to get that freebie. The whole 76ers team beat up. They're a big dog. I won't win a lot on that. That's a guaranteed W. No, it's not. That's a guaranteed L because all the numbers said 76ers were going to win, and they did. And you know what? Some guys, they'll see the injury report, and they're like, I'm not going to bet on that. It's just like my dad said. My dad just, he continues to follow the news, and he's like, I think France is going to be eliminated early. The news is saying their whole team is injured. Notice France has been dominating their games. That's why they do that, because the gamblers who are looking for that information who still gamble that way. Oh, France is injured? No, notice what happened with all the France. Like I pointed out to my dad, I said, you know what? You know why that's BS? I said, watch, it's not going to mean anything. France isn't moving down in the odds. Their odds are staying super high to win their games. So the people who rig the games, they're not moving the odds down because France's team's injured. They do this stuff to you guys year after year, college and pro. Was it the Marquette team a few years ago who lost their star player? And I was like, oh, that's too bad, man. That guy's good. They were going to do well in this tournament. And then they did very well in the tournament with him sitting on the bench. Didn't even need their star player. All rigged, all scripted. So, anyhow. France might have just lost, but they didn't lose those opening games. They didn't lose the opening games where the narrative was that their whole team was injured. I didn't say France was the World Cup. France is not. For anyone who's on my Patreon notes, you know what teams I like, and those teams are looking good. But I'm talking about the opening games. A lot of people thought France was going to get upset in the beginning because their team was injured. It did not happen. So, anyway. Some of you guys want to. All right, here. For anybody who wants to call in, if somebody wants to represent the Mark style position or if somebody wants to represent the winning position, hold on. Love, you're leaving soon, aren't you? You guys, I was only planning to do this stream for a little bit. It's going to have to be real quick. It's going to have to be real quick because I got to get off here in about 10 minutes for Sweet Lady. I got to do something before she goes to work. But hold on. Where's my little link? Okay, I'm going to put the link in the chat. If you guys want to come on, you got to click the link in the chat, but you guys got to be in and out. You can come on for 1-2 minutes. Maybe we get 3-4 different thoughts on here, and then we'll call it the stream. But pretty much I said everything that needs to be said. And shout out to Matthew Davenport. I know this guy reads above a second grade reading level. Again, for all of you guys who cannot comprehend what's in the notes, I'm serious, man. It's time to go back to kindergarten. Instead of watching these sports games, go to your used bookstore, get a book, start reading the book. If every other word you don't know what it means, pull out your phone and look up what the meaning of the word is. It's time to expand vocabulary. It's time to develop reading comprehension. You're an adult. Again, I write this stuff as clear as can be. If it says this game is a close call, it means this game is a close call. If I write out, I like this game, this is the strongest read on the board, those are the games I'm more favorable about. So, yeah. And again, just winning information day after day if you're being selective and looking for the strongest narratives. There are games you will get beat on. I won't be surprised if a lot of people got beat on the Knicks-Bucks game yesterday. But it was a little bit risky. Alf, you got to connect your devices if you want to get on here. You guys got to hurry up. Time's going. You got to connect those devices. Okay, Mike Lee's got his devices connected. You're the first man in the room for that reason. What's up, Mike Lee? Mike Lee? Got his devices connected, but maybe he wasn't expecting me to go to him that quick. Mike Lee in the room. And you know what else I will say? So the thing is, in the early part of the season, you got to do reads like, if a team has a strong connection to 28, in the early part of the season, you got to be looking at things that are like 2 and 8. And the thing about 2-8 is it's like 28, and it will come through a good deal, but it's not as strong as 28. So when we get to later in the season, when like a team can pick up the 28th win or the 28th loss, that becomes even more consistent. So yes, there are better parts of the season, but we're doing very well with our NBA picks day after day. And of course, there are trolls out there making videos. I mean, we had a Thursday earlier this year, but we're between Thursday Night Football and the NBA. We went 6-2. That troll uploaded a video about my very terrible day and how much money you would have lost. And I was like, God, this guy is just the biggest scumbag, liar, loser. And then all of his videos are like my face with a picture that says major fraud. And it's that person's the major fraud. Probably works for the casinos. Okay, but Mike Lee, you are on and you're not saying anything. So maybe we don't have anybody that wants to come on. We have 3 other people in the room who also aren't connecting their devices. Nero. All right. All roads lead to Rome. What's up, Nero?
What's going on, Seth?
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, I just recently got into the Patreon. I'm trying to take some notes from your notes, and I'm actually kind of wondering what do you like use to start the decodes for like a game? Do you start with like the number, the date numerology?
Now hold on, you've been looking at my notes. So what do I have at the top of the notes every day? At the top, I always start with the date, right? I always look at all the numbers pertaining to the date.
Yes, sir.
That's where everything starts with the date. It's just like what happened on November 28th. What happened on November 28th? 11/28, the 47th triangular number. What happened on Monday Night Football? Both teams become 4-7. And again, you guys, I told my people to be cautious with that game. In hindsight, I was like, I should have just played that because I know how strong 47 is on that date. And some people did go with it because that's where all the value was. But everything is date specific. So always start with the date. And then after the date, then the next thing is the strongest numbers connected to teams. You're looking for what can happen in the record. Is there something that can happen in the record for that team that is also connected? Just like how 55 is so attached to the Timberwolves, and it's a perfect pattern this year. Where you could feel even more confident about that is like if a team could become 5-5 versus the Timberwolves and the date numerology is 55. Again, I don't ever tell people to bet the whole house, but if there was ever like you're in a pinch and you need some money, that would be the day to be like, okay, this pattern's already killing and the date numerology is 55. I feel I'm going to bet a little bit more than I normally would on the Timberwolves today. So
going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, thank you, man. I'm definitely going to use this knowledge and not just try to piggyback off of you type. Like, I'm just trying to,
exactly. You take the knowledge and use your own mind and get even better, because it's just like Victor. You know, Victor's a longtime student. Now he has his own Patreon. His whole thing is only picking one game a day. And I've noticed in recent times he's trying to pick a few more, because I've been telling him, I say, Victor, you're missing out by not hitting on the parlays. I see he hit a parlay this weekend in football. But yeah, you know, he uses his own mind. And Victor's thing, for people, Victor goes an extra mile. He looks at every state's date birthday, and he's always measuring from that state date birthday to the game. And that can be important. It's just like Kansas this year. Kansas won the college basketball championship 65 days after the state's birthday, and Kansas equals 65.
Ooh.
So don't leave yet. Give me 5 minutes. All right, Neil.
Man, thank you, man.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
All right, take care. All right, I'm going to let a couple more people get in here real quick, but then I got to take care of Sweet Lady. Jerry Cruz, what's up?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I hear you.
All right, yeah. I was I do, you know, I do all the research. I'm all in, all that. I just wanted to know real quick, is it possible that you could read into the wrong number pattern when doing research for these games? Because I do my own, like, and some stuff be lined up a little too well, but I don't know if that's just coincidence.
Well, what you just said, so yeah, there's some day where like it looks like the day is going to be, let's just say yesterday. Let's say all the 11s missed yesterday. Sometimes that happens and it just blows your mind, but it doesn't normally happen. That's why I always tell people to be consistent, because if you just stay consistent, you're going to win with these patterns more often than not. But there's some days that'll shock you. I mean, the days where I've had the really bad days, it's because I was filling a number and I went with the numbers in that game, and there were 6 games that had it and it only hit in 2. So I won on 2 games and lost on 4. I mean, that doesn't happen that much, but it happens sometimes. So
Yeah, I was just it's I see that it's something that I really like to look at every Sunday is the week 13 or the week of that they play. Like for example, a team could be on 46 wins going into week 15 for the NFL. They could probably pick up their 47th win, being the 47 is the 15th prime number in
Right.
week 15. And I just like to look at stuff like that. And I seen that that's been a recurring thing. So maybe looking into the week numbers could be a very
Absolutely.
big thing.
Absolutely. And my favorite NFL weeks are odd numbers that are prime, like NFL week 13. Like, remember, week 7, seven's the fourth prime number. We identified all those games where streaks of 4 could happen. And the 2 that we flagged where the 4 might not happen, where we were dead on about that. And that's because there was a strong narrative for that not to happen. But all those other games with the streaks of 4 hit. And then the 2 where it didn't were nice big upsets. And it's just like I identified last week. I said next week will be week 13. I said, look at all these teams that if they win or lose this week, they'll be set up for a streak of 6 in week 13. Out of those 6 teams, 5 of the 6 went exactly how we thought. The only team that failed was the Ravens. Had the Ravens won, it would have set themselves up for their 6th straight win in week 13. But why did the Ravens lose? Again, it's the little that it was Lawrence Day on Sunday. On the calendar, it was Lawrence Day, and who beat the Ravens? Trevor Lawrence. So there's your reason for why the Ravens were the only team that failed in setting up that pattern of 6 and going into week 13.
Correct.
But yeah, great observations. And what you're saying is exactly the way I think. So keep it up.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's all I really had to say. I do have a couple questions to ask you, but I mean,
We're
I'm
going to have
not
to save
gonna
it
hold
for
you
later
too
because
long.
I got to get one more person in, and then I got to take care of Sweet Lady. I'm sorry, I got to hurry this one up, but I'll do another one of these streams so you can call back and ask. Thank you,
All right,
Sherry.
have a good one.
All right, take care, man. All right, what's up, Dale? Yeah.
Sorry, brother. Hit the
Yeah,
wrong
what's up?
button. I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button.
Oh, you don't want to be in here?
No, I do.
Okay, so what's up?
I just hit the link. I'm sorry. But I
Okay.
appreciate the work you do. I love watching your stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
Say hi to Sweet Lady. Have a good day.
I
brother.
will. All right, thanks,
Bye.
Dale. All right,
Thank
take
you.
care, man. All right, one more. Is this Generation Y?
Yo,
Generation Y. I've never seen the face. All right, what's up, Generation? You guys. So here's a man who uses his own mind. He's found his own niche. He's helping out the community. He's doing great work. What's up, Lane?
Continuously winning, man, just based off the numbers, because hey, they never lie. It's the Tall Black Genius. It's Lane with a Y, Generation Y. You know,
So Lane, if it was like the 19th of the month, tell me, would you be looking for guys wearing the jersey number 19 for some nice
Of course.
prop bets?
Of course. So, but understand this, Zach, you're not going to be able, there's certain prop markets that you're going to be able to bet. You know, today is a 19 date numerology. So you need to look at the World Cup and Morocco versus Canada that's going on right now. Number 19 scored a goal. Okay, let's talk about it, Zach. On the 21st, USA, number 21 scored a goal. The other day,
remember,
on the
29th, the 10th prime,
the 29th,
basketball,
number 10
scores
a goal. Come on, Zach. So now we are on goals, because in basketball, you got to bet them 20 points. You got to bet them 6. There's different markets that you can't really capitalize on basketball like how you can on football. So today's the first. You have the Buffalo Bills. Mind you, I'm upstate. You have the Buffalo Bills versus the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots have this one receiver. He has 420 yards. He's second on the team in receiving yards, but he only has 1 touchdown. This guy's number is number 1. We're going to be taking Devontae Parker for the New England Patriots to score 1 touchdown at plus 360. That means if you bet $100, you'll walk away with $460. Based off of this theory that we've been cashing all fucking week. Where y'all been at? Where y'all been at?
I want to warn people. Lane doesn't hit on all of these prop bets, but he hits on a lot. And the thing is, when you're doing things like that with odds, if you're hitting the majority, you're coming out way ahead. Some nights you might be like, damn, I lost my 100, but hey, this past week I already added 700 to the bank account. So again, you guys, that's why it's better. Did you start out making $100 bets, or did you start out a little bit more modest and build the bankroll?
Rule number 1, Zach, is money management. No matter what you're doing, whether you're selling this or selling that, whatever you're investing in, manage your money properly and understand that percentage profits are the goals. Okay. It's not just about, oh, I want to make $1 million. You want to turn 10 to 100, because turning 10 to 100 is just like turning 100 into 1,000. So it's really about money management. With these markets, as far as touchdowns, Zach, understand Kareem Hunt did not score on the 27th Sunday. He was the only number 27 to bet, though. So when we talk about this Sunday coming up, the 4th, Imagine how lucrative it would be for Dak Prescott, a quarterback, to rush in a touchdown. Number 4, Deshaun Watson is on his comeback. Okay, this Sunday, it's the 4th. Imagine how lucrative it'll be for a quarterback to score a touchdown, like Derek Carr, maybe. These are all
Lane,
number
you already
4s.
said enough.
Derek Carr.
Lane's dropping gems right here, you guys. And the thing is, when you have prop bets like this with big odds, you can put a few of these players together and put $5 on it and potentially win over $100. It's just like when you see the NFL going, oh my God, number 30 scored his first touchdown in 7 years. You're laughing because the date numerology is 30. Sweet Lady's about to kill me. I got to get off, you guys. Thank you. I'll be back.
Love.
And until next time. Thanks, Lane.
Thanks, Truth Seeker. Peace.